think how ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists, but they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years.
After months of courtroom drama, viral frenzy, and frantic damage control by ABC executives, Karoline Leavitt has achieved the unthinkable. She's just won her staggering $800 million defamation lawsuit against The View. Yes, you read that right. The once untouchable daytime powerhouse has suffered the most devastating blow in its history. Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, and Sunny Hostin are reportedly stunned, their credibility shattered, and their network now in full-blown crisis mode. But this wasn't just a personal victory. Karoline didn't just win, she changed the entire narrative. This marks a seismic cultural shift, a moment where someone finally stood up to legacy media and said, enough. So how did we get here? What exactly did The View say to spark this legal firestorm? And how did Karoline turn a viral media takedown into an $800 million courtroom triumph? Buckle up, this is a wild ride. Before we dive into the chaos, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned, because what you're about to hear might forever change the way you look at daytime television. It all began, like many media controversies on The View, with a smirk, a condescending glance, and a jab so polished it felt scripted. Karoline Leavitt wasn't walking into that studio blind. She knew the landscape, an environment where conservative women were often mocked, not heard. Still, she entered with poise, sharp suit, calm voice, unwavering presence. She came to speak on national defense, civic engagement, and policy. Her mission? Deliver facts. Stand firm. Speak up. What she got instead? A live ambush, wrapped in the gloss of daytime banter.
They really don't like this woman. She's a good communicator. And so Joy Behar just offered her analysis on why Leavitt was picked for the role.
Joy Behar led the charge. She squinted across the table, her voice thick with sarcasm, and leaned in with that trademark smirk, sharp enough to curdle cream. Come on. Karoline's not here for her intellect. Trump probably just thinks she's a 10. The studio didn't just laugh, they erupted. Not with innocent chuckles, but with the kind of cruel laughter meant to sting, applause, snorts, mocking grins. Each reaction landed like a punch. Then came Sunny Hostin, not even waiting for the noise to settle before lobbing her own grenade. Let's be honest. This isn't about qualifications. She's just a poster child for privilege. End of story. It was a pylon, relentless, unapologetic. And just when it seemed it couldn't get worse, Whoopi Goldberg leaned back, arms crossed, and delivered the line that lit the fuse. If it weren't for wokeness, you wouldn't even have a job. Boom. That was the spark. The clip went nuclear within hours. Hashtags like hashtag Karoline Setup and hashtag The View Unhinged exploded across social media. But Karoline? No flinching. No Twitter rant. No teary Instagram live. She simply adjusted her blazer, took a slow sip of water, and smiled.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay,
now,
I'm sorry, guys. We're going to come back out to the panel. Karoline, thank you very much for your time.
These women are completely out of touch with reality. And you're right, ABC should wake up.
Because in that moment, Karoline didn't flinch, she was ready. The second the cameras stopped rolling, she made the call that would flip the script. She dialed her legal team. Then came the headlines, like thunderclaps. Karoline Leavitt sues The View for $800 million. ABC in turmoil after explosive defamation suit. Conservative powerhouse drops legal bombshell on daytime TV. And just like that, the smirks vanished. This wasn't Twitter drama. It wasn't a partisan squabble. This was war. Karoline Leavitt had filed an $800 million lawsuit, armed with elite attorneys, airtight documentation, and a digital arsenal of footage that made The View look less like a talk show and more like a smear machine. At the heart of the suit? One core charge, character assassination. But this wasn't some murky she said. Karoline's legal team came locked and loaded, with receipts. They submitted transcripts of the exact on-air segments, word for word. They included raw camera feeds, including off-air moments filled with snickers and high-fives. And then came the knockout blow, internal Slack messages. Producers had openly discussed how to provoke her. Pre-show notes contained the fatal line. Let Joy open with the looks jab. Whoopi will end it with a dagger. That was it. The smoking gun. Undeniable proof that this wasn't a conversation, it was a takedown, staged and rehearsed under the guise of daytime chatter. ABC was blindsided. Executives panicked. Legal teams scrambled. PR teams pulled all-nighters. Talks of suspension spread through the building. Damage control went into overdrive. Even ABC insiders admitted it, this wasn't just a PR nightmare. This was an implosion.
President Trump's life echoed the sentiment that President Trump is a to democracy. And if you're a deranged lunatic and you're mentally ill, you will believe that lie. And yes, you will take political violence like we have seen in 2 instances against President Trump. Last week, Tim Walz and Kamala Harris said that everyone who showed up to President Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden was a Nazi. That's despicable, dangerous, divisive rhetoric that is spewed by the Democrat Party every single day.
Suddenly, Karoline Leavitt wasn't just another guest on a talk show. She was the woman who shattered the illusion of harmless banter and tore the mask off performative media ambushes. She wasn't trending for a viral quip. She was trending because she had done the unthinkable. She forced The View to face real consequences for years of unchecked bias. And this was just the beginning. The moment the lawsuit hit national headlines, the mood inside ABC flipped. Smug turned to scramble. Behind the polished sets and sparkling studio lights, chaos quietly erupted. The loudest voices fell to whispers. The habitual laughers went silent. According to insiders, the first to fold was Whoopi Goldberg. That's right, Whoopi. The queen of comebacks, the legendary moderator, the woman who once shrugged off scandal like lint. Not this time. Word is, she reached out to a former colleague, someone who had connections to both her and Karoline. The message was soft, uncharacteristically careful. Can we talk? Just meet. We don't have to let this get worse. But it already had. Then came Joy Behar. Known on air for her fire and fearlessness, off camera, the tone was different. Sources say Joy personally called one of Karoline's lawyers. Yes, called them herself, asking if there was any way to settle things quietly. She allegedly even floated the idea of a joint statement, maybe even a public apology. It reeked of desperation. And Sunny Hostin? She skipped the niceties altogether. She was crunching numbers. The only trained attorney at the table, Sunny immediately grasped the legal gravity. She began consulting her own lawyers, separate from ABC's. Word is, she was terrified of personal liability. Sources say she asked, multiple times, if she could be removed from the lawsuit altogether. Meanwhile, Karoline's legal team didn't flinch. As The View scrambled to smother the inferno, Karoline's camp calmly, methodically, stoked the flames.
Isn't it rich that The View is saying she got the job based on looks when DEI is all about based on looks?
ABC's boardroom had become a war zone. Emergency meetings ran daily. Executives clashed over every option, settlements, statements, and yes, even the unthinkable, canceling the show. That word, cancellation, was first whispered during a late-night huddle between top legal brass and the crisis PR team. But whispers don't stay whispers for long. Staff overheard. Texts leaked. Twitter lit up like a fuse. The View, once a daytime juggernaut, was now a PR disaster with a logo. Karoline? She didn't flinch. She didn't blink. Her legal team dropped a one-sentence bomb that echoed through Hollywood. Accountability cannot be negotiated. Boom. That's when everything changed. While The View clung to hopes of a public apology softening the blow, Karoline made it clear they were going all the way. And then it happened. The showdown the world had been bracing for. Courtroom lights. Media swarms. Cameras flashing. Crowds packed in like it was the Emmys. Karoline Leavitt versus The View had officially begun. And let me tell you, it didn't feel like a trial. It felt like an awards night for justice. Karoline walked in like a storm wrapped in silk. Navy suit. Calm expression. Not a single hair out of place. No entourage. No theatrics. Just control. She took her seat, folded her hands, and waited. Across the aisle? A stark contrast. Whoopi Goldberg, once the embodiment of bravado, wore dark glasses indoors. No eye contact. Shoulders stiff. Hands trembling. Joy Behar, ashen and tight-lipped. No wisecracks. Not even a nervous one. Sunny Hostin clutched a folder of legal documents like prayer beads. Despite her credentials, her face screamed panic. Then the trial began. Karoline's team didn't waste a second. They opened with a slow-motion montage of the segment, the footage that started it all. It was brutal. Clip after clip. Insult after insult. Mockery layered like bricks in a wall of humiliation. The courtroom fell silent. Every breath. Every fidget. Amplified. Then came the receipts. Emails. Slack messages. Meeting notes. One document filled the screen in bold text. We need a viral moment. Karoline's the target today. Gasps rippled across the room. The judge paused. Jurors exchanged glances. One covered her mouth, another shook his head. And then, the knockout blow, a leaked voice memo from a producer after the taping. We got what we needed. She cracked. Only, she hadn't. Karoline sat unmoved. Unbothered. Watching it all unfold like a film she'd seen before. Whoopi's head slowly sank. Joy reached for her water, but didn't drink. Sunny fidgeted nonstop. The truth was undeniable. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a takedown. And Karoline? She wasn't just winning. She was rewriting the rules. Then came the moment of truth. The courtroom was packed. Reporters scribbled. Cameras rolled. Karoline sat poised, hands folded. Across from her, Whoopi, Joy, Sunny. Motionless. The jury filed in. Faces unreadable. The foreperson stood, turned to the judge, and read the verdict. On the count of defamation, we find the defendants liable. Boom. That single word sent a shockwave through the building. But it wasn't over. ABC and The View's co-hosts were ordered to pay $800 million in damages. Let that sink in, $800 million. This wasn't just a loss. It was a reckoning. The internet exploded. Twitter melted. TikTok flooded with edits, reactions, memes. YouTubers streamed their takes in real time, some even cried on camera. Hashtags flew. Hashtag Karoline wins. Hashtag The View on trial. Hashtag media reckoning. Hashtag Whoopi wrecked. Hashtag cancel The View. One stunned news anchor said it live. We just witnessed the most expensive talk show mistake in TV history. And Karoline? No gloating. No victory speech. She stood, thanked her team, smiled at the flashbulbs, and walked out like a boss. As for The View, they weren't just covering the headlines anymore. They were the headline.
The most divisive and disgusting speech that any president, certainly in my lifetime, has ever given. He essentially waged war on half of the country by saying that we are all a threat to democracy because we believe in putting America first. It's not radical to want to put your country and your own people first. It's not radical to want to have a strong border, a strong military, and to unleash the might of your own economy, not economies around the world.
The morning after the verdict, chaos reigned inside ABC headquarters. Panic reached new heights. Sources say top advertisers, some of the biggest global brands, pulled out within hours. PR teams were drowning. Legal departments worked around the clock. Executives were reportedly locked in heated debates over whether The View should be rebranded or shut down entirely. One leaked internal memo captured the mood perfectly. We underestimated this guest. We underestimated this lawsuit. Now we're facing the worst PR crisis in network history. It was stamped, urgent. As for the hosts? Whoopi hasn't returned to set. Joy has gone completely silent. Sunny? Radio silence. Producers are dodging reporters, canceling interviews. Backstage, insiders say it feels more like a funeral than a studio. Meanwhile, Karoline Leavitt is being hailed as a media reform icon. Journalists who once dismissed her as a fringe political influencer now call her the conservative AOC, with receipts. Her social media is on fire, followers surging, comment sections flooded with support. One viral tweet said it best. Karoline didn't just win in court. She won a generation's trust. Another read. The girl who took on daytime TV and won.
There is a lot of reporting out there that is putting the onus on this White House for the increased cost of eggs. I would like to point out to each and every one of you that in 2024, when Joe Biden was in the Oval Office, or upstairs in the residence sleeping, I'm not so sure, egg prices increased 65% in this country. We also have seen the cost of everything, not just eggs. Bacon, groceries, gasoline have increased because of the inflationary policies of the last administration.
So what happens now? The ripple effects are already spreading. Talk show producers are scrambling to rewrite guest protocols. Legal teams are rushing to train hosts on what not to say. Media executives are holding behind closed doors meetings, urgently discussing how to tighten the reins on live narratives. Because The View made one thing unmistakably clear. You can't just say whatever you want anymore and smirk your way off set. Not with Karoline Leavitt in the room. Not when the silence is finally breaking. And Karoline? She's not shouting. She's not gloating. She's not even slowing down. She's just winning, with receipts, with strategy, and with a calm voice that shook one of television's loudest platforms to its core. Let's be honest, this verdict didn't just change Karoline's world. It changed everything. Every host. Every producer. Every network. They just got a lesson they won't forget. Words have weight. And now, they have consequences.
Do you want to take this?
No, you cannot be attractive and smart. I will try to give Joy the benefit, and well, thank you. I try to give Joy the benefit of the doubt that she didn't see that briefing. Because if you saw that yesterday on numerous topics, no big binder, I think she might have had a different impression of this young woman who held her own.
I mean, you would have to give her the benefit of the doubt that she did absolutely no research or reading about anything dealing with Karoline Leavitt before she made that remark.
Now it's your turn. Was Karoline right to take this fight all the way to court? Did The View finally cross a line that can't be walked back? And are we witnessing the start of a new era, one where the media is finally held accountable for its words? Drop your thoughts in the comments, we're reading every single one. And before you go, smash that like button if you believe truth still matters. Hit subscribe so you don't miss a single update on this unfolding story, because Karoline Leavitt just proved something big. This isn't a punchline anymore. It's a verdict. And The View may never recover. Stay tuned.
Yes, and as you mentioned, with conservative women, there's a long list of that, both of Trump's previous press secretaries, females, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Kayleigh McEnany, other figures like his campaign manager the first time, Kellyanne Conway, Sarah Palin very famously had to bear the brunt of a lot of this. So people are used to that. I think in their bubble of the audience that The View speaks to, that's probably kind of what the group think is. So one defense, I guess, is that she was speaking to her audience, but you take it outside of that bubble the way you are right now, and we all can see